Hey everybody, we're about to get to a great episode of the Adventist Hoops podcast, but before we do, I wanted to just check in with Drew Meckelberg. He's the head men's coach and athletic director at Union Adventist University. And Drew, we've been talking a lot recently because we've been planning together this second annual Adventist Hoops All-American weekend that's happening at Union Adventist University in Lincoln, Nebraska, July 29 through August 2 here in 2026. What are you most looking forward to about this event being at Union?
Dustin, we are really looking forward to having everybody on our campus. We love the community that we've grown. We love the camaraderie, getting to interact with other coaches from the Adventist realm, as well as players. Seeing the best players from the country on our campus is something we're really looking forward to.
Well, we're looking forward to being there, and I'll tell you what, Union's going to be a great partner. This event is happening because not only they have the people that are going to help partner with us to make this put the event together. You also have the facilities. The All-Star Game is going to be at the legendary Thunderdome on Saturday night, August 1. But one of the requirements of having this event is that we got to have multiple courts for all of the athletes that are going to be there. There's drills, there's practices, scrimmages, so we need more than one facility. And you guys have that in that brand new wellness and fitness center there on campus. It's pretty big. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the Reiner Wellness Center was built 2 years ago, and we have absolutely loved having it. We've got 2 full-sized college basketball courts. We've got a turf area that can be used. We've got a state-of-the-art weight room, a swimming pool, 25-meter swimming pool, and a running track, cardio equipment. It is all going to be used that weekend, and we cannot wait to show off our new facility.
We are excited to use it. We're going to use, I think, every inch of the campus there for that weekend. Drew, I also wanted to ask you just about Union as a destination for athletes that are out there that are wanting to play at the next level. Union just recently joined the NCCAA. What is that, and why would Union be a good spot for someone to land if they're interested in playing, not even just basketball, at the next level?
Yeah, we've been really excited about our affiliation with the National Christian College Athletic Association. We have played a lot of these teams for over 40 years, but now we get a chance to legitimize our program and play against these same teams, but compete at the collegiate level for championships and tournaments and all of those good things. And so we offer men's soccer, women's volleyball, men's and women's basketball at the NCCAA level. But then we also have a golf team and a acrobatics gymnastics team that is a huge part of what we do as an athletic program here on our campus.
Well, if you decide to make the trip out to Union, to Lincoln this summer to watch the second annual Adventist Hoops All-American All-Star Games on Saturday night, August 1, you'll get to see all of these places, these facilities, and the great program that Drew has going there. A long history, a great tradition of athletics there at Union Adventist University. And just a big thank you that goes out to Union for partnering to make this second annual All-American weekend happen. We couldn't do it without them, and we're looking forward to coming out to Nebraska this summer. Thanks, Drew.
You bet. Can't wait. We're looking forward to it.
All right, now let's get to this episode. Hey everybody, welcome to the Adventist Hoops podcast. We got a special edition for you today. It is Tuesday, June 2, 2026, and I'm here on location in Huntsville, Alabama at Oakwood Adventist Academy. And on June 1, there was something posted on Instagram on Adventist Hoops that caused a little bit of an uproar, and we have the epicenter of that controversy right here. My friend, my teammate, and co-host on the Adventist Hoops podcast, Adrian Hargrove. Adrian, for people that maybe didn't ever see the post, I remember you saying at PUC as we were teammates that your Oakwood Academy team had it was the best Adventist Academy ever assembled, and then you clarified saying, it's probably not, or who knows if it's the best Adventist team ever, but we're definitely the best Oakwood Adventist Academy team ever. And then everybody came after you. So so what kind of transpired, and what has the response been?
Oh man,
I'll hold it.
Okay.
I don't want to just give him the
right.
right.
We would never get the interview over with.
I got a lot of people who disagree. Some understand, those that witnessed, and but I will say this, and I've talked to Coach. I'm extremely proud of the guys and what they've been doing. to keep the legacy going, the success that they've been having. Myself and the other alum, we're going to do better. We're going to do better, showing up to support. But yeah, we were the best.
It is, and by the way, special guest today, head coach of the boys team here at Oakwood Adventist Academy, Jarrett Swain. So we're excited to be able to learn a little bit about your story as well. But it does bring up a good point, and it's something that I think, as I've been on this Adventist Hoops journey since 2023, there's so many programs, players, coaches, people across the Adventist basketball world that I just didn't know about, right? Just because I didn't know. And so, sometimes we were like, well, man, these kids should know. But if no one's ever told them, or there's no record of it or whatever, then, how are they going to know? So one of my dreams would be to create sort of a comprehensive Adventist basketball history of all of these programs and people over the years, just so that people, would know about it.
And I think, too, again, just to thank you for what you've created.
For the controversy I started.
But no, with Adventist Hoops, what you've created is you're really giving our athletes a platform.
Yeah. Because
that was something that I know a lot of us, when we were coming up, longed for. We would see the guys, on ESPN, and we're like, I feel like I could hang with this guy. And then just even knowing the other Adventist players, across the country. I know when I first met you at PUC, and I was like, this guy's nice,
yeah.
I think, so again, just kudos to you and what you're creating to not just see a gap, but fill it. So I really appreciate you for that.
Well, we are lucky to have Coach Swain with us this afternoon, and definitely wanting to hear a little bit about, honestly, one of the premier Adventist basketball programs in the country over the years, and the success that you've had in just a few short years here. But Jarrett, why don't you start off just from the beginning, I guess, wherever you want that to be, where are you from, what's your background, and what was your journey in your youth like for basketball?
Definitely. I'm gonna get to that, but first I just want to show Adrian this. I just want to show Adrian some of this hardware right here. If he has any at his house and would like to, to back up his argument.
We got to let you respond. And you told me yesterday when you saw me that I had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb because there were so many of the current guys that, or younger guys that were like, Coach, you gonna let him do this to us?
Whenever the response dropped from Adrian, my phone was pinging. Coach, did you see this? They sending me the link to it, and I'm like, I didn't see that team,
right.
But I can only speak on our team, and I know we had some great teams over the last 5 years, and I would definitely put all three of our state final teams up with the 2000 team. It's just a debate that's going to keep going until
we find the VHS
until
tapes,
we find the VHS, until we can blow the dust off those VHS tapes. That's
And Coach was, if you're just listening, he was pointing out the finalist trophy that Oakwood had from 2023,
yes, sir.
And great season this past year in 2025, 2026. So we'll get to all of that. But Coach, just so that people get to know you a little bit, I mean, what's your background? Where are you from, and what's your basketball journey been like as a kid?
Yes, sir. Born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. Been playing basketball all my life. Played all the sports growing up. Had to make a decision right before I went to college. I had a few small offers to go to some small NAIAs. But went to follow in my father's footsteps and play football in college, but still had a love for basketball. And went to college, played football, had some injuries, and finished college and had to figure out what was going to be next. And
offense or defense?
Offense.
What'd you
offense.
play?
Running back.
Running back?
Yes, sir.
I believe it.
I had to. I was only.
His handshake is strong. I'll just say that.
Only 5'8", so it's not that many. I'm not Spud Webb, so let me go to the gridiron.
Yeah.
And so I did that and stayed close to the game of basketball. And when I got out of college, I had a buddy coaching. He was a teacher, and he played football in college, and he was coaching the middle school team. And he was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing out here, but I know you know the game. Would you be willing to coach? And I was like, that's the door open that I needed. Mm-hmm. And I coached at Kaufman School in Kansas City, coached there for 5 years.
What was it about that experience? Like, when did you know, like, oh, I really like this?
I feel like I've always been a player coach. When I was on the court, I feel like I always used to put people in right position, and I did whatever the team needed me to do to win. So just being a player coach all the way up as a athlete myself. So I think it was always in me. I just didn't know how to knock the door down to get into coaching.
Yeah. And playing and coaching is so much different. So what were some of those first years that you were putting in there in Kansas City? What were some of the biggest lessons that you learned as a coach?
Oh, man, just can't react off of emotion. Your team is an identity of you. You got to keep your composure because your team is watching you. How you respond is how your team going to respond. And, you just got to you got to go with the gut decision, and you got to live with it. You got to live with it. So I think those are the biggest things that I take to that I brought to this job is just, you got to roll with the decision you made, and you go back and you watch that film and you make adjustments later.
During one of our conversations that we had, you were talking about taking the team to St. Louis.
Yes, sir.
And kind of seeing where you were from and how you came up. How does that tie into what you just said as far as like the team being an identity of you, and how that played a role in you taking them back to St. Louis?
So one of the biggest things for me taking the team to St. Louis is I always wanted to show them where I was from, and I think it made them understand me more as a coach and as a man. Mm-hmm. Why is Coach on me so hard? I got to show them, where I live, where I played, and how I was brought up. And I also believe that seeing that different style of basketball, it helped us in the long run. Every time we came back from St. Louis, we went on a good win streak. Right. So I just think it was good team bonding as well. Yeah. And I just think that it helped make decisions. The decisions I had to make growing up in St. Louis, it helped me to this day as being a father and a coach.
So you coached, you said 5 years there, middle school?
I was doing middle school and high school. I was a middle school head coach for 2 years, won the city championship in 2017, and then took it up to high school, was coaching JV and was the assistant coach on varsity, and just kept rolling with it.
So was there ever interest in coaching football?
No, I never, believe it or not, I never had interest in coaching football. I just feel like the game has changed so much in the way I was coached. Is the way how I coach basketball, but football has changed so much, you almost can't coach it the same way.
Interesting. Just as far as the intensity goes?
The intensity. This generation is a little different, let's be honest.
Well, that's what he's been trying to say.
This generation, that's what he's saying to get his point across. But to coach them, it's just a little different than when we was playing, Absolutely. Coach can yell at us, and then our parents will yell at us because the coach was yelling at us too,
Facts.
And, we still got some of that these days, but if you yelling at a kid now, it's, why are you yelling at him? So, it is what it is. It is what it is.
So you're getting all this experience at different levels in Kansas City, and then you go from Kansas City to Huntsville?
Went from Kansas City to Huntsville. Crazy how that worked. I came down to visit my brother who's living in Huntsville, and it was the week that COVID just shut everything down. So me and my wife was coming to visit Huntsville, visit my brother, and then we was going to go to Atlanta. And we was packing the car up to go to Atlanta, and the news said Atlanta is shut down. Wow. So my brother was like, well, yeah, I can stay a few more days. So I was teaching at the time, and my school was shut down. We're going to be shut down this week. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Yeah. So we stayed down here, and my wife, she really liked Huntsville. And I used to come down to Huntsville. My brother played at A&M from 2002 to 2006. And
football?
Baseball.
Okay.
So for me being from St. Louis, I'm like, I would never. This is too country. No disrespect, Huntsville people. I remember where everything stopped at Madison Square Mall, and I was like, yeah, I can't do this. And my brother used to have me and a couple of my friends come down on college break when we go on winter break, and just to show us something different. And he would drive us around. I'm like, hey, this thing kind of changing. Yeah. It's kind of nice. And brought my wife down here, and she fell in love with it. She was ready to leave Kansas City. And August of 2021, we decided like in June, but 2021, we made the move, and the whole 9-hour drive down here, I was like, this is the worst move of my life. And so far, it's been the best move of my life. I met some good people. Mr. Hargrove right here. A lot of my student athletes, became family. A lot of the parents that I coached their student athletes became family. So it's been the best move of my life.
And so how did it work out that you ended up getting involved in the program here?
Crazy story. So I told my brother if I moved down here, I really want to coach. And he was helping me. We was calling places. We were emailing everybody. And his wife's cousin was coaching at Lee High School at the time. And my brother got in contact with him. We met up with him, and he said, I got a friend that needs some help over at an Adventist school. And I was like, I'm for it. And came over to a practice, and at the time, Coach Melvin Allen was the coach. And we talked, and I gave him my resume of everything that I've coached from AAU to middle school and high school. And came to a practice one Sunday evening, and I'm like, I'm ready. Like, where do I sign? I don't care if I have to volunteer or whatever. And we just hit the ground running. That was 2021, and 2026, here we are. So been a dream come true.
So what was your initial seasons like? Did you get a chance to kind of implement some of those things you had been learning in Kansas City here, or is that kind of deal where you had to wait until you became a head coach to kind of?
No, definitely. Coach Allen was definitely open to anything that I brought to the table, any ideas that I had. He used to pick my brain a lot. What did I see? What do you think we need to change, or what do we need to go over? So Coach Allen was definitely great with picking my mind and, letting me implement things, and just really just being hands-on with all the players. So I think that's what really helped make the transition really smooth. Just him letting me just be me, and I knew when to step back and pull back and things like that. So,
not being Adventist yourself, what was it like getting to know this, pretty unique Adventist community with some special cultural things that we have?
It was I don't want to say jaw-dropping. I remember I called Coach Allen on a Saturday during the day. And I'm like, why is he not picking up the phone? And he explained to me what it was. And I really got my real taste of it is when we went through the whole experience of when the state didn't allow us to play. So me, with myself, I'm a learner. So when I found out what was going on in the tradition of the religion, I went and did my own research so I can learn more about it and be able to help guide the student athletes with what we was going through at the time. If I don't have knowledge of it, then I'm not able to teach and help guide. So, like I said, a lot of people have been open to me, open to my family. It's been a great experience so far, Go
ahead.
I was going to say, we were just talking about transitions. So I had an opportunity to be an assistant coach before.
Yes, sir.
And that was okay. I was the head coach one game when the head coach got tossed, and it's hard.
Yeah.
And even just watching, him throughout the season, I was like, this is hard. How was the transition from being an assistant to now being the head coach?
It's I think Coach Allen, he helped prepare me well. Mm-hmm. I think being a head coach in Kansas City and coaching AAU, I credit AAU with a lot of my success because you got to think on the fly. AAU, you don't have time to scout the opponent unless you want to be in the gym all day. I think the transition was smooth. I had a good support staff, great assistants. Coach Reed is a great assistant. He helped. I coached JV before I made the full transition to varsity. He had to picked up a new role at work, and he was coaching JV, and he was like, man, I think you should coach the JV. And Coach Morton, athletic director, Calvin Morton, he also made the transition smooth for me by helping me get to know, how things work around here, different players, how they react to certain things. So, you know, those people, and then just the community in general just help make the transition smooth. They always believed in me, and it's been great. Like I said, it's been great. Ups and downs, you know, you have your roller coasters, but it's been great. I learned a lot of the off the court stuff from Coach Allen, putting the schedule together, and got to talk to this person from the state, and so he prepared me for a lot of that too.
You mentioned the Sabbath issue a few years ago. That was 2022, 2023 season?
21, 22. So my first year. Okay. So it was eye-opening. I'm like, what? You know, what's going on?
What's the big deal? Yeah.
It was 30 minutes. The Sabbath was, the sun was going to set at 5 o'clock. The game was at 4:30.
Set the stage for people that haven't heard the story. We did post it a couple years ago on the Adventist Hoops Instagram. But for those that didn't watch that, I encourage you to go to, it's actually, I think, on the North American division. They did a little film, like maybe 10-minute documentary on the whole thing. Did. But Jarrett, just kind of tell us what went down that year.
So we coming off COVID. We couldn't play any home games. You know, that was just the school rule at the time. We tied for the area championship. So regular season, we went 7-1. Decatur Heritage went 7-1. It was a coin flip to who was gonna host the area tournament. So we ended up playing at Decatur Heritage. We lost the area championship. So we had to go to Skyline. You know, everybody know about our enemies at Skyline. You know, that's
even
a big rivalry.
Do a little bit, just because I see them in all these highlights.
Yeah, we played them so many times. We played them 4 times a season.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a tough test to go up to play at Skyline on the road and beat them in overtime.
Wow.
So we excited. And the next morning, one of the kids put in the group message, Coach, they got us playing at 4:30 on Saturday. And I'm like, all right, whoever we playing, we're going to take care of that. It's, you know. And Coach Allen said, all right, well, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, figure what out? I'm lost. And I called Coach Allen, and he explained to me, well, the Sabbath, you know, we can't play until the sun sets. And I'm like, oh, that's easy. I'm sure the state will move the game, you know. And
just, you know, other states had made accommodations for other schools in the past. So it's not like there was no precedent outside of Alabama for this, but
and so we contacted the schools that played after us. Hey, would you guys switch? Everybody was for it.
See, I don't know if I knew that.
Yeah,
that they were willing to switch it. So
they were willing to switch it. So we thought, you know, okay, we got everybody on board. The state is just gonna switch it, you know, and you know, we see what long legal battle that turned out to be, but you know, those guys walked so other groups could run, and it's a law now that, you know, accommodations have to be made for religious, you know, anything religious you got going on for a game or anything. So
and that just speaks to what we started off kind of joking about, but also like knowing the legacy of those that came before you, and that team, who knows what they could have done, right?
Exactly.
But they held their heads high. They said nothing but like positive things about their experience and how it actually kind of strengthened their faith, if anything.
Yep.
So yeah. What have you learned about the Sabbath just as a outsider coming in? Anything that you've come to like, other than like it being a huge issue in your first season, you know, with the playoffs, have you come to learn anything or appreciate anything about the Sabbath that you've come to learn?
I just respect it. I appreciate it. I've learned a lot about it. I'll follow it. You know, I find myself on Fridays at sunset. I'm done working. You know, my wife tell me, "Hey, the grass need to be cut up the sunset." You know, so
I'm a Seventh-day Adventist coach now. So yeah.
So, but no, it's a part of me. Like I said, I've been bringing my family up, and a lot of the pastors that I know, you know, I respect them and all that they do for the program and for myself. You know, so. That's it. That's it.
I'd say something that I've noticed, you know, from some of our conversations, especially as I've gotten to know you more, something that I feel like you have that our coach, Leonard Douglas, had, is just that family dynamic.
Definitely.
It's like the team is your family.
Definitely.
I guess, you know, talk to us a little bit about that. It's just the importance of them not just being teammates, but family. Because
Brothers.
that's how we looked at each other. It was
Yes.
like, these are my brothers.
Exactly.
And how important that is, I guess, and how that could translate to the court.
Definitely. So I was raised. That's how I was raised. In my neighborhood, it took a village. I could be on this street, and this mom could whoop me, or this dad could whoop me, and I got another one when I get home. So that's how I was raised. It takes a village. You make some of the greatest memories and build some of the best relationships through sports. Some of my best friends to this day that I talk to every day, we still talk about, man, remember we was 10 years old and I caught this pass? And those are my brothers to this day. What I try to instill in my players as far as family is bigger than basketball. That's what that was the quote that his brother said in 2022. And it is.
Shout out Kai Andrews.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Adventist Hoops intern.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, Mahari Andrews. Okay. Yeah, that's enough. But we brothers on and off the court. If you see a brother not doing the right thing, you got to bring him back in. We got to reel him back in, because if he gets in trouble off the court, it's going to hurt us all on the court. And we just leaders, I like to call them, you elite. Everybody's looking up to you. So they feel like if you doing something and you getting in trouble, you're not getting in trouble for it, then I should be able to do it. Yeah. So let's do the right thing all the time.
And it's a slippery slope, right?
Right.
It's the small things.
Yep.
Yeah. Talk about how that brotherhood, the closeness, translate to actual tangible success on the court. What are some of the ways that being closer allows you to actually have a competitive edge?
The first thing is you go into battle. Is an accountability. So I'm going to hold my brother accountable. He going to hold me accountable. I make a mistake, he going to hold my head up high. We don't put our head down. If we see another brother with our head down, we're going to pick him up. You can't win a game with 4 people. Yeah. You need all 5 on the same page. So, and that brotherhood has gone, Coach Hargrove, you've seen that all the alumni we have coming back in the summer to come play, and it's just one call away if I need them to come give us a look, or we need Adrian to come and dust off the shoes and show us why he think they're the best team ever. That's what it's about for me, being able to call on, hey Adrian, I need you to give him a look, or sometimes they don't need to hear it from me, they need to hear it from Adrian. And once coach saying the same thing, then it got to be true, right? So just that, having people like Austin come back and Jaden Nesbitt, and they coming back and saying, Coach, man, college is everything you said. And that's all, that's what makes me smile. That's what, it's all about. We want to win state championships, but when they come back and they tell me, yeah, Coach, life is exactly what you said it was, that's all it is. And it's just seeing them being productive humans out there in the real world, not getting in trouble and doing the right thing. That's it for me.
Yeah, love it.
So you have this, kind of a disappointment in that 21-22 season. I think ultimately everyone took it well, as well as you could take it, but there had to be disappointment, right? I mean, you guys were so close.
Definitely. Definitely disappointment, but I knew the chip on their shoulder, because we only lost Mahari. We only lost one senior, so the chip on their shoulder, I was like, man, that's going to carry us into the state championship. We just got to put them in position to win. And the work ethic that spring and that summer and that fall going into 22-23, it was unmatched. Yeah. It was unmatched. I think that was the team that gelled the most, that showed the brotherhood the most. And we came up a little bit short, but man, that was a good team. That was a good team.
And how far did that team go?
They lost in the state championship. We lost in the state championship.
10 points?
Oh,
something
no. 4.
Close.
4.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah.
And they was
man.
tough. Free throws. You got to make our free throws,
Yeah. And then a lot of seniors graduated that year. A little bit of a rebuilding year the next year.
Lost 9 seniors.
Yeah. Still had a great record.
Yep.
I think that next year.
Yeah, we were 500. I think we were like 14 and 16, but we was on the right. We was going in the right direction, and we lost on a buzzer beater in the sub-regional. So we had just lost by 2 in the area championship, but we was in the right path. I knew if we saw skyline again, we would beat them, you know, and that was a good learning year for us. We needed that year to grow up, and we took our lumps, but we played a tough schedule. And again, that next year, I was like, yeah, that's the team. This might be the greatest team ever. This might be the greatest team ever. And we just came up short in the Final Four. Lost by 4 again. Same old story, free throws. You put Oakwood in the dictionary, free throws right next to it.
So I just need to come back and work with guys on free throws.
That's it.
I got you.
That's it. That's been the story of why we can't get over the hump.
I remember watching that game live streamed 2 years ago, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and heartbreaking. Because you were in the game the whole time.
Yep.
Yeah,
we kept, like, we're going to turn the corner and go ahead. And we started the fourth quarter down by 12. It was no worry on anybody's face. And we end up being down by 1. We got it down to 1, and they hit a 3. We came back, we hit 1, and we just couldn't get over the hump. Yeah. You know, when you start slow, you can't start slow like that in games like that, you know.
How do you, you know, that's 2 really huge disappointments. 3, if you count, you know, the Sabbath issue. How do you help young men get past that disappointment, and what does it mean? I mean, to me, that's why we play these games, right?
Yes.
Like when you get into another place in life where you get fired or you fail a presentation at work or whatever, it's like, well, that didn't compare at all to the 2023 you know, loss or whatever. Like,
well, I think you said it. I think it's just it's life, and that's how I teach them. Basketball, my motto is I teach life through basketball. You're not gonna get every call, every ball not gonna go your way. You can't stop and pout. You got to keep playing. Another way I tell them is for my guys that are kind of grown now and got apartments. I said, listen, you might not get that call. Think about it like this. The electric bill is not what you want it to be, but you still got to pay it, right? You know, you got to just keep playing. Yeah. You got to keep living and keep learning, learn from your mistakes, and you know, everything happens for a reason. Yeah. You know, God doesn't make any mistakes, and you just got to learn from it. And how can we move on from it? You know, the world doesn't stop because Oakwood didn't hit their free throws, or we didn't get the call we needed, or you know, ball didn't roll our way. You just got to keep living and keep playing, you know. So I think life and basketball go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about this last season's team, 2025-2026 season. You guys are on fire in the region, area.
So we was ranked number 1 in the state all year.
Yeah.
All year.
And this is Division or Class 1A.
Class
right?
1A,
yeah.
But we played the best of the best from 2A all the way up to 7A.
You had some battles.
Had some battles.
You know, they didn't always go your way, but you were competitive in many of them.
Yep. I think when we realized how good we were, when we turned the corner, we went and played Huntsville High. They was ranked number 1 in 7A. We had a few players hurt.
And just to clarify, you probably can guess it, but it's divisions in California.
Yeah.
Class 1A is the smaller school.
It's the smallest that you can go.
And 7A is the biggest.
Yes, sir.
In Alabama.
Yes, sir. And if you're from Huntsville, you know Huntsville High has a good reputation. They put out a good product every year, a lot of D1 players. And, you know, people always call me crazy for the schedule I put together, but we 0-0 when the playoffs start. So the goal of mine is for my guys to see every type of basketball that you might see in the playoffs. So when we get in the playoffs, we can't say we never seen this before, and
to know your potential too. I think something like a team that's way above where you're at, and you rise up to their level for a half or whatever, and you're like, hey, we can play this way all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
So we went in there. We had a couple of injuries, and I told my guys, I said, just give me 32 minutes of the hardest basketball that you ever played. You'll be in good shape. And halftime, we was down by 1. And I think a lot of people was like, I know a lot of people was like, man, they're going to get blew out.
Right.
And I saw people leaving after the girls' game, you know. And I'm like, I told them before the game, I said, look at all the people leaving. Yeah. They think you're going to get blew out of the gym. And down by 1 at halftime, and end up losing that game by 5. Wow. By 5. And I think that was the turning point for the season. They was like, oh, we could play with anybody. Yeah. And
the
confidence went through the roof. And a couple of weeks later, we ended up going to St. Louis. Confidence went through the roof even more. And, just an unfortunate ending, just unfortunate, a mistake made by myself. And, I'm going to just take the blame. I'm not even going to say my staff.
Well, for people that have no idea, why don't you just tell them what happened?
So in the state of Alabama, you can only play 30 games in the regular season. Well, we went over one game. We played 31. And
when did you realize it?
I didn't realize it until I got a phone call from the state, and they said, "Hey, you played 31 games?" And I was like, "No, we usually do a good job of making sure we play 30 games." And when they called, and then I went back and looked at the schedule, it made sense. We forgot to count a game that we didn't have scheduled, but we played Jemison as the first game of the season, and one of their games got canceled. One of our games got canceled, and we both wanted to play again. Mm-hmm. They were going to Mississippi for Thanksgiving. We were playing somewhere up in Nashville for Thanksgiving, and we just both wanted some work before we went, our separate ways for Thanksgiving. And it was a game that, it was Monday. Hey, you want to play Tuesday?
So it's almost like a scrimmage.
Yeah, it was almost like a scrimmage, but it was but we had, we counted it because we had state refs, and we did the proper protocol. We put it in Dragonfly, which is the system that the state uses here. And as the season goes, you just kind of you forget. And
like in college, you'll play exhibitions that you
right.
wouldn't even count.
That you wouldn't even
record.
count.
So
right.
It was mentally maybe just kind of that kind of thing.
It was one of those things, it counted against our record, but it was so early in the season where we was just like, all right, we moved past that.
Right.
And, just a mistake on my end. And, man, if I could take it back, I would. It was one of the hardest lessons for myself and having to teach my kids, is, you make mistakes, you got to live with it. Sometimes the best you can do is say, I apologize. And for me was, I asked each and every one of my kids, it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow or 3 years from now, but I ask you find it in your heart to forgive me for the mistake that I made. You did everything that I asked you to do this season. You showed up and played and gave 100%. And, we fought to the end. And we thought we was going to be okay. Mm-hmm. And, it's just one of those things where, I wish they would have just punished me instead of punished the kids. That might have been the best team too. So,
If you would have realized that before the season ended, could you have canceled one of your last games?
Definitely.
Okay?
So when we came back from St. Louis, we had a couple of guys banged up, and we was playing against Weisberg, Coach's former school here, where he used to coach at. And I called Coach Morton the day before the game. I'm like, I think I'm going to cancel this game. And he was like, I think you should get some guys healthy. And I sent the text out to the guys, to the team, and I said, hey, do y'all want to play the game or you want to cancel it? I should have just canceled it because, of course, they all, no, we want to play, Coach. So I respect Weisberg. I respect their program over there. And I found out it was their senior night. So I'm like, I don't want to do them like that. I don't want to cancel, then they won't have a game. And so, just out of respect for the coach. And I know the work that goes into a senior night. I didn't want to do them like that. But, going back, I would have just said, hey, Coach, this is the situation. I got to do it. Right. If you don't want to come for our senior night, they end up being our senior night, the 31st game. If you don't want to come, I completely understand. And but if I could, I would have just, instead of sending that text out, I would have just told Coach Morton, hey, cancel the game. We got to get healthy,
I think every player and coach and parent out there that hears this, their heart just breaks because they know, how hard it must have been for you to, have to go through that, and knowing how much work the guys had put in and everything. And, I'm sure it was just unpleasant to have to deal with it. Was there any support, any buddy that reached out and was just like, hey,
A ton of support. Just a lot of support from places we didn't expect support to come from. Coach Hargrove was great support. A lot of alumni reached out, the community in general, my staff, my wife, my mom, my parents. It was a lot of support. At the time, it's just like, I appreciate it, but it's for the kids. That was the hardest thing for me. That was the hardest conversation I ever had, having to face them. And, we was just so excited to get in postseason play. The whole thing, they didn't have the prettiest record, being 15 and 16 or whatever it was. But the hardest thing I was telling them, and they finally bought in midway through the season, was remember the end goal. Like, we in these battles with these big schools that's ranked, but remember why we're doing it, and when they finally bought in, it's right around the time we was turning that corner, and man, we was peaking right when we got the bad news. And
well, and we should say how it actually went down, because there was a moment maybe you thought that it was actually going to be overturned. So there was an appeal that was filed by, what county are we in?
Madison County.
Madison County. And so there was a stay on the ruling of the what is it, ASHA?
Yes, sir.
On that, and then there was a counter.
A counter stat,
from was it the schools county that you were going to be playing?
Jackson County, I believe.
So the opposing team's county that they would have been playing, they also there was a court order, and it went back and forth, and ultimately they sided with
the state, with the association.
Yeah. So anyway, you know what? Out of some of those toughest moments, and like we've been talking about, there's been a lot of success and also hard moments, but again, you go through those things, and you can go through anything.
Exactly. Yeah. It's another life lesson, through basketball, and not the lesson that we really wanted to teach, not that way at least. Yeah. But I think when those guys come back 3 years from now, they actually coming back now and playing, and they forgiven, and Coach, we love you and thank you. That's the biggest thing for me, man. Is just making sure that they leave this place knowing that I just wanted the best for them, and that's not how I wanted it to end. Just great. It's good for them to come back, and I hope 5 years they like, Coach, that helped me get through this. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So, looking forward now, I was watching the guys practice yesterday. I don't know if everybody was there. Well, Kai wasn't there, but everybody else was there. And what are you looking forward to for this next season?
It's about the hardwood. We want to bond as a team, so we'll use the summer for that, to get our chemistry and all that together. And then we'll go back and watch film from us playing this summer and put it together how we think we need to put it together. And then we still got to get the blue trophy. We got the red trophy, and we want to get the blue trophy. So then now when we get the blue trophy, then we had to come back to that question of who's really the best team. And but that's it, just making sure guys, they learn the game of basketball is the biggest thing. Become a family. That's what we preach. And then we're going after the blue trophy. It's a little different now in Alabama. They changed the classifications. They split private and public, so it might be a little asterisk by it because we didn't play a public school, the best public school, for the championship. So
we wrote a blog story. Josh Boyko wrote a story on the team this year, and the title was now I'm forgetting the title, but it was Success Without a Championship, I think, something like that. Success Without a Championship, and You're going to keep pushing. This team is going to keep pushing. You're going to continue to be a success every season because of how you're raising these young men. And the success in these trophies, the colors, whatever.
Right.
Like, that's going to come, and when it does, it's going to be really sweet.
Yes, sir.
But until then, you know that you're a success. I want you to know that you're a
Thank
success.
you. I appreciate
the
that.
team, in these past teams that you've had. I mean, coming back around to the very beginning, if we're coming full circle, really, I mean, we all love basketball. We love our church and the program that has been here at Oakwood Adventist Academy for decades, going back to, you know, possibly the greatest team of all time at Oakwood Adventist Academy. It has molded young men and it given them life lessons, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. I mean, to us, it means more than just that to us. Like, we really want to win, right? Like, we really love basketball. At the end of the day, though, we still have our families. We have, you know, a great community that we're a part of, and if we lose or win, you know,
we got the support.
We still have what's important, but we still want to win too.
Definitely. So I want to thank you for starting the whole, you know, what was the best team ever, because it's been good because we able to get alumni back. Yeah. So that's always been my goal. You know, Coach Hargrove will tell you, I've always been wanting alumni back so that, you know, they can mingle, they can get to know each other, and that's basically what this thing come down to. You know, they just didn't know, you know.
Well, I mean, you guys are all family, and hopefully you'll be able to get more and more connected. And
definitely,
you know.
And again, I attribute that, you know, to Coach. You know, when I first moved back, without getting into too many details, you know, I'll just say, Coach has, I feel like he's done a phenomenal job wanting to get the alumni back involved. I don't know what it was before. You know, I moved back in 2019, but since, you know, he's taken over, just the conversations that we've had, and even some, you know, in the back and forth on social media, you know, it made me realize, like, man, as an alumni, we have to do better. You know, and helping bridge that gap. And I know a lot of them, you know, Cap, you know, Carlton Williams, you know, he's always reaching out to us, EJ, saying, hey guys, we gotta get over there. We gotta support. We gotta, you know, be there for the guys. And so, you know, like I said, I'm gonna be a lot more present, you know, moving forward, and you know, coming in and talking to the guys however you need me to support. I just had one hit me up yesterday.
Good. That's what it's about.
Getting in the gym.
That's what it's about.
Austin, we've been getting in the gym and getting some work in. So you know, we're gonna get that. That
might
smooth it over. That might.
You know, when we lost in the 2004 Olympics, was it? No,
yep, that was
whatever.
2004.
We got bronze or whatever,
yep.
Right? 04. And then you saw what USA Basketball did, not just to take it really seriously with who they were putting on the roster, but if you've watched the documentary Redeem Team, they brought in all of these guys from the past. Mm-hmm. They brought in Doug Collins, who lost in, you know, 72 to the Russians or whatever. And like hearing those stories of who it started to mean more to those guys. And I think that it's a beautiful thing whenever we can bridge generations, and
definitely.
And it just means more, because not only, it's not like we're trying to separate ourselves from the old. It's like, hey, I know that the old guys are excited and are proud of us,
right.
and rooting for us. Absolutely. And I think, if I'm being honest, as you know, somebody that's over 40, I don't want to be left behind too, right? I want to like feel like I can still be a part of.
I said right. Whoa. Slow down, Coach.
You know, just because it was so important to you as a student athlete, and you know, you still want the best and all the success to the current guys, and it feels good to be included in that.
And that was something, you know, when Coach and I talked, you know, and I had to tell some of the guys that I've spoke to offline, like, I'm not trying to put you guys down. But I do want you also to fully embrace what you guys have now. We didn't have a gym, which was why we weren't able to be in a league.
Right.
You know, we had our own gym. And so now, being blessed with the gym, being blessed with the opportunity to be in the league and play for these championships, don't take it for granted.
Right.
You know, when Coach is saying get in the gym and put in that work, man, embrace this opportunity, because there's those of us who wished, you know, we had that, you know, even though still got to play Division I basketball.
Oh man.
You know, you wonder, it's like, hey, what could have been if I had a gym and TikTok and Instagram for my highlight reels, and we didn't lose our VHS tapes. But yeah, definitely want to just pour back into the guys and be there to support them.
Well, if you, the post that we made yesterday was actually from episode 39 with Adrian. I don't remember what episode it was. Oh, it was him? Yeah.
The episode younger than you.
So if you want to hear the whole conversation about what we're talking about, you go listen to Adrian's story and his basketball journey. It's inspiring. So, anything else?
Coach, I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
I'm really excited to see what the guys are going to do this season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Dust, for all that you do. You know, we try to talk as often as we can. You know, he's busiest man ever. But what you're doing, the platform is great. I appreciate you. I know the kids appreciate it. Let's just keep building this thing. However I can help, I'm just a call or a text away. You do know how to text, right?
Appreciate it. Jarrett, thank you so much for opening up and sharing a little bit about your story and being vulnerable, and for all that you're doing in molding these young men and pushing the game forward here at Oakwood Adventist Academy.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Thanks for listening.
All right. Go Mustangs.
Yes, sir. Go Mustangs.